Hey friends. So if this message sounds familiar, it's because this is something I have spoken about before. I made a similarly titled video a little over 2 years ago, and I posted a video on the channel back in September as well, which discussed the fact that some people only truly learn the harm they do to others when it's done to them. And that video is kind of related to this one a little. If you haven't watched that already, or you want to watch it again, I'll link it in the comments. Anyway, I wanted to talk about this subject again in a slightly different way than I did in those videos, and I want to focus a little more on feelings this time. So let's get right into it. Feelings are a complicated subject. Some of us are very passionate about ours, some less so. Sometimes feelings bring out the best in us, sometimes the worst. Feelings can cause you to make decisions that are great sometimes, and then other times, not so great. We could talk about feelings for hours and still only scratch the surface, but don't worry, we won't go on for that long. But we are going to talk about what feelings are valid and important. That's going to be the easy part of the video. The answer is all of them. All feelings are valid and important. You are entitled to feel however you do for whatever reasons you feel that way. Your feelings are never wrong or bad or any of that. They are your feelings, and you have every right to feel them for as long as you want to. This holds true for everyone, including people's feelings that are in diametric opposition to yours. With that said, when you run into situations where you feel a certain way and someone else does not, and that second person's actions hurt your feelings, you are also entitled to feel that hurt. You are also entitled to feel upset or angry at them. You're allowed to talk about it. You are allowed to decide you don't want to speak to them anymore, even if that is what is best for you. Because I firmly believe, friends, that our best relationships are always based on freedom. Meaning, I'm hanging out with you because I want to. I'm calling you my friend because I want to, not because I feel some sense of obligation or because we're family or we've known each other a long time or anything like that. Relationships based on freedom also understand that I'm free to feel how I feel, and so are you. We don't have to agree all the time, but we do have to be respectful of each other's views and our fundamental right to express those views. Remember that since relationships are not obligations, people always have the right to choose who they enter into them with, whether it be a friendship or something else. And on the flip side of that, they also have the right to walk away from those relationships when they are bad for you or toxic or just simply something you don't want to have anymore. But in the course of our relationships, there is something that happens which is inevitable, and that's when things can get a little tricky, when you disagree, when you don't see eye to eye on something, when there are hurt feelings because of that. And by disagreement, I'm not talking about things like what's the best laundry detergent or which team in baseball has the best closer or what color is better, green or purple. I'm talking about things that are ideological. So yeah, politics, religion, human rights, animal rights, personal freedoms, things like that. When you disagree with someone about things like that, it can be near impossible to see eye to eye on a lot of things because beliefs tend to be ingrained and they are also deeply personal. No amount of shouting at each other is going to make them change because, as we talk about a lot on this channel, you can't change other people. Change comes from within. Can you try to get them to maybe change their mind or see your point of view? Of course. Can you change your own mind by gaining life experiences and meeting other people whose perspectives are different or learning more about a subject? Of course. I mean, speaking for myself, my beliefs are very different on many subjects now at 51 than they were at, say, 20. I'll go ahead and admit that I'm a lot more tolerant, a lot kinder, a lot more open-minded, and a lot more willing to actually see and listen to someone else's point of view, even if I don't agree with it. I very much understand that disagreeing with someone and disrespecting them are two very different things, and I try not to cross that line as long as it doesn't make me disrespect myself or betray my own beliefs. When it comes to respect, I have always had the point of view that this is how every relationship starts with me from the moment I meet you. If I do not get that respect in return, then we're not going to have very much of a relationship. I certainly won't make an effort to have one either. And by respect, I mean that you respect not just our similarities, but our differences too, our right to have them and our right to speak about them. I think a lot of people cross this line a little bit too callously and then don't understand why you don't want to talk to them anymore. I mean, if the exchanges I have with you tend to be dismissive of my feelings or telling me, oh, don't worry about it, or shut up and deal when something is upsetting to me, or you're making jokes about things that are really just not funny, then do you blame me for not respecting you? Do you blame me for not wanting to be around you or speak to you? I think that as a society, we have become way too comfortable with disrespecting each other, with not giving a shit about each other's feelings. And make no mistake about it, this is not progress. It's shameful, because you should care when you hurt someone else's feelings. You should care when you do something that harms someone else. You should care when your behavior puts someone else in danger. You should care when you or someone else is being intolerant or just an asshole to someone else, whether they're someone who's marginalized or not. You should care when people are afraid, and offer them compassion and kindness instead of dismissing those feelings or making it some kind of joke, because that's not funny. And honestly, when you laugh at stuff like that, it says a lot about you and your character. Just saying. And before I continue, I want to talk about something I learned back in college in a philosophy class. Shout out to Dr. Radke, wherever he may be. It is called the paradox of tolerance. It was first articulated by the philosopher Karl Popper in like 1945, I think, but don't quote me on that date. Anyway, I found it interesting that I have recently seen a couple of people share this on social media, because it's not exactly new, but it is actually still something that is very relevant to today's world, and it's very important to understand too. Anyway, what it says is this: if we as a society extend tolerance to those who are intolerant, it risks enabling the eventual dominance of intolerance, and this then undermines the very principle of tolerance itself. Huh? That's why it's called a paradox. So, to put it in plain English, the more we normalize and tolerate things which are intolerant, which are exclusionary, which are unfair or unjust, the more we erode actual tolerance until, well, being an intolerant asshole is the norm versus being something that we discourage people from being. This is, of course, goes without saying, the wrong direction. And it's only going to continue to erode relationships between people because we aren't actually listening to each other's feelings or points of view anymore. We aren't being empathetic to each other anymore. We think it's more important to be right or to get a laugh or what have you, even if it hurts someone else's feelings. We put that bad behavior and our shitty thoughts out there for all to see, and then we rejoice when someone agrees with us because in our mind it justifies us having them. We have taken up this selfish mentality of, oh well, I got mine, good luck getting yours, and we pull up ladders behind us instead of reaching an arm down to help someone else get up to where you are too. So it almost seems like in today's world, when times of trouble come along, you usually have just two basic kinds of people. One who stops and helps others, and when they get to the top, they turn around and help the next person online. And the other one that cuts you off to get the last parking spot at the Target and then snatches that last pack of toilet paper right out of your hand, knocking over a grandma to do it. This is not behavior that we should be celebrating, folks. It's sad, and it's not okay, ever. And instead of trying to understand your feelings, or even think about them at all for that matter, that second type of person I just mentioned, the toilet paper snatcher, will often add insult to injury and get mad at you for reacting to their disrespect. Instead of having some empathy, they'd rather make it a little jokey joke, or call you too sensitive, or tell you to toughen up, or forget about it or whatever, which is ironic because you know what's funny about so many of those people who tell you you're too sensitive? They are the very same people who, the moment that they are the target of those jokey jokes, the moment that they are the ones who feel they're being attacked or what have you, they are the first ones to be outraged, the first ones to scream how unfair that is. You can rest assured that when you do this, you've hit a nerve. You've torn open the bag where those people keep their insecurities and they don't like it. And that's why reacting to their disrespect gets a, you're being too sensitive. Because there are plenty of times when you probably aren't. You're probably just reacting normally. But saying that makes them feel better and less of a terrible person, and it takes away some of the guilt that they are going to feel about mistreating you. And if you try to hold them accountable or call them out on their behavior, a lot of times they'll get mad at you. Yeah, they will get mad at you for something they did, even though they are actually the ones who owe you an apology. Yeah, I don't get it either, but listen, the bottom line is that when someone calls you a loved one or a friend or a family member with their words and then shows you that is not actually the case with their actions, well, that person who's hurt has every right to feel that way. Those are their feelings. They're allowed to feel them. You are allowed to have your feelings too, but you're not allowed to be mad at them for that. You are not exempt from the fallout or consequences of your actions. This means you cannot all of a sudden be all offended that they are upset and don't want to talk to you. They probably aren't being sensitive or unreasonable or dramatic or any of that other stuff. They are probably just being human. And that should matter to you. Their feelings should matter to you. And so should the fact that you hurt them. Other people do not have the right to tell you how to feel when they disrespect you or do something that upsets you. They also do not have the right to dictate how you heal from what they did. If something hurts you, it hurts you. That should again matter to them, even if they don't agree with the reasons that you're hurt, even if they don't see things your way. There are plenty of ways to disagree with someone without being hurtful or disrespectful. But when you are celebrating their pain or their fear, when you are delighting in their misfortune or them being upset, you're not respecting them at all. You're actually being an asshole. And that is nothing to be proud of, ever. And it sends the person who is hurt a very powerful message, which says, your relationship with me is not really that important, and neither are you. Oof. It hurts me to say that even hypothetically, because realizing that someone who you thought you were important to, someone that you thought truly cares about you, actually doesn't, that hurts like hell, and there's no way to really sugarcoat that. I'm sorry. So, I'll leave you with this. There are a lot of situations in life, friends, where you think that there's a winner and there's a loser. Absolutely. But there are plenty, such as conflicts within personal relationships, where it's a battle over whose feelings are right and whose are wrong, where there are no actual winners. Everyone loses. And when you care enough about that person that you're in conflict with, you'll find a way to put that relationship with them ahead of proving your point or being right or puffing your chest out or whatever other victory you feel you're getting. Because if you take away nothing else from this video, let it be this. If you win something, but you lose the respect of someone you care about or admire, or you lose them altogether, you didn't win a damn thing. You lost too. That's all I've got for you this week. I'll be back next week with another priority message. Until then, take good care of yourselves. Bye.